I don't know how he's doing it. He's
Hi everybody, this is Matilda, 71 Honda N600 that we finished the restoration on in 2012. Took 6 years because we did a lot of other stuff, as I'm sure most of you did. The origin story of Matilda is that my wife Carly traveled by herself in Europe before we met and took a picture of a purple microcar that she thought was cute on the side of the road. And my friend Chad, or our friend Chad, was over one night drinking wine and talking, and she brought up the story of this car, and he asked to see the picture, and here's the picture. Didn't know what it was until, well, Chad's a car guy, he knew. We weren't into microcars at all. And then if you look really closely, it says Fiat on the front of it, so not that big a mystery. So we thought, wouldn't it be great to do a car for Carly, a little purple microcar at some point? Well, microcars in general are really tricky. We didn't know that at the time. But Fiats, I was no bueno on an old Fiat mechanically. A few days later, Chad was down getting a haircut in south of Eugene, in Cresswell. Drove past a junkyard and saw a tiny Honda. Didn't know they existed. He went in and took a picture of it and showed it to us. And we went to that junkyard and tried to buy it. The title wasn't available, so it was a no deal, but we thought, oh, this is amazing. It's a Honda, so mechanically good. It's tiny, and we can make it purple. So we did some research, looked on eBay, and found a 71, I believe, yellow, that had been in Key Largo, Florida for too long in the salty weather. And we thought, well, that's it. We're going to get that car, and we're going to restore it. It'll be great. So it was in California at the time. We buy the car, have it shipped up here, and it was totaled. The salt had just eaten it, and whoever had it had no idea what they were doing, and their idea for fixing rust was to smear untreated Bondo on it. Don't add any hardener, smear it on there, it'll probably be fine. So it's like bubble gum by the time we get it, but the car was complete. So we need a body. We've got an engine, we've got a transmission. Well, the engine and transmission are one unit in these. We've got the running gear, we've got all the parts. We need a rust-free body. So we go on to a message board, and Carly posts that this is what we're looking for, and within a few minutes somebody says, hey, my son just saw one at a junkyard in Madras. We live in Corvallis, Oregon. Madras is 150 miles away. It's the town I grew up in. Spent my whole life there. My dad was a mechanic there for 35 years. We give him a call. He's been doing business with this junkyard for 1,000,000 years, and they've got it. It was headed to the crusher. Didn't have an engine. We had an engine. It was all very meant to be. The entire project worked out that way. So we give the guy $200 for the car, get it hauled over here. In the interim, we also found another parts car. So we end up with 3 cars, a lot of cobbling together, have an engine built in North Carolina by Mike O'Connor. He sends it out to us. Year after year, we get the car done finally. It's been a year on the rotisserie, right here in the garage, ground to bare metal inside and out. Hey, this is Louise. And that was the floor of the garage. Okay. Shot the car with primer, took it to the body shop. They had it for 3 months. They got it complete for us. So anyway, here's Matilda. The interior, we had the seat vinyl made. Oh, somebody wants to go for a ride. Seat vinyl made by a fella in California who specializes in these. They're very hard to get parts for, but it all worked out. We had a carpet kit bought as well, had some floor mats made. We had a custom trunk mat made. Clean things up in here a little bit. I used to think this trunk was really small until I saw the Figaro. So we always keep the chairs that we use in car shows here and an umbrella. We can throw some groceries in on top. And then I went ahead and went a little modern with it. Had a subwoofer put in and a couple of 6x9s, and it actually sounds really good. So the stereo I went with is a JVC Chameleon that is just a blank touch screen radio that also plays CDs, obviously. And then the cigarette, the ashtray here, I made an iPod dock. So you just pop the iPod in there, and it's all completely out of the way. Car has an alarm with keyless entry, which I like to think it's the only one in the world, most likely. And made some custom brackets inside the doors to make that all work. Did Dynamat and Dynaliner all the way through to try and make it quiet. But it's an air-cooled car, and it's not quiet. And it's not going to be. But it's all, it's not original in as far as matching parts and things like that goes, but it's a Honda N600 two-cylinder, 36 horse, air-cooled engine. Purpose-built by Honda. I believe they were made from 68 to 72. The originals were imported into Hawaii first. At the time, GIs would sometimes bring over the N360, which is basically the identical car with a smaller engine, or the S600 or S800. The S600 is a really cool coupe with a chain drive rear end, but they were never DOT approved to my knowledge. I believe they just snuck them in somehow, but it wasn't a mass production car that was brought in. These were the first car that Honda imported in the US and were originally sold in motorcycle shops for about $1,300, which is about $1 a pound. And they sold about 46,000 of them in the United States. They claim that of those, there's about 1,000 left and about 300 of them run. Although the Facebook group I've been on lately has been growing, and there's some really nice restorations out there. There's kind of a community for it. When we did this, there wasn't much. Tim Mings is the guru of Honda N600s in California, and he's the guy to have do everything in perfection. I'd like to have him do our engine. This one has actually run really well. We've got, I think, almost 6,000 miles on it. I dialed the odometer back to 0 when we did the restoration, so we know how many miles we've done. And as soon as we got it out of the crate, so this started leaking oil. And because it sits on top of our daily driver Honda, we have the cat litter catching the oil at all times. But it never needs any oil between changes, and it runs surprisingly well. That's what I always wanted from the Honda when we started the project, was to be able to drop it off the lift, start it up, and drive off and go for a picnic or have some other fun. Added a much louder horn for safety. Added an LED third brake light in the back, which, as it turns out, was backfeeding itself through the brakes and the tail lights and the turn signals. So I had to diode that. Didn't really know what I was doing at the time, but by dioding it, it actually flashes when you turn your turn signals on and goes solid when the brakes are on, which is actually kind of a handy safety feature. Some of the harder stuff to find at the time were like the little rubber bumpers that hold the jack handle, or that bump and space the hood. But Bill Colford is a great resource for things like that. He makes all of the little bitty pieces that you wouldn't expect to be able to find anymore. We had the wiring harness, everything. The car was absolutely completely disassembled for several years, and in true Honda form, it had been in a box, several boxes for so long. Put it all back together, and everything worked electrically. The fuel sender had to be unfrozen, much like my voice. Excuse me. It was frozen up, but once I got it broken loose, the fuel gauge works, the cigarette lighter works, the dome light works, and most of the things that don't work in cars, even from the 80s, all just magically works. Haven't had too many issues at all. The heater motor froze up just a little bit once. I had a little smoke under the dash when I turned the heater on. But heater works great. It actually ventilates very well. There are some kick vents. All the windows open. You've got wind wings to direct air. And then when we got it from the wrecking yard, there was a glass pop-up sunroof, which we really didn't have any interest in. I always wanted this kind of sliding rag top like a Mini, which worked out really well because it was less metal to straighten. And this is tons of fun. You can open it all the way up. My belief was that before, it had to have it specially made, so I didn't understand that that the fabric would gather on top of the frame itself. I thought it was gonna overhang, so I would have brought it back a little further if I'd had the chance, but it works great. It does leak if you wash it, but by and large it stays inside here. And but on a sunny day, it's really nice to have a convertible, and then you can pop it closed. The side wind wings on these, most of the time on a car like this, they'll pop out in the back. If you remember that from the 80s, these pop out on the bottom, which is actually kind of a neat look, and you can easily reach them from the driver's seat on both of them. and gets a lot of nice flow. Gosh, what else? The radio antenna was actually, there was a plastic plug here from the factory that was still here when we got it, and then somebody had can openered a big hole in the front corner and put an antenna in there for some odd reason. So we patched that up and we're able to get a radio antenna, this emblem here from Tim Ming's, a few of the little things, factory mud flaps. He's got some great new old stock parts. These tail lights are always really dull and hard to get new, and also hubcaps. There's certain things that are just really hard to get, and we were able to get these new old stock. And then a cool trick that the guy at the body shop taught me that could come in handy for some of you. Old plastic like this, hit it with a Scotch-Brite and then clear coat it, and it comes back really nicely brand new. Did that to the front turn indicators up here, and they came out pretty well also. We've been super happy with the car. We just love it to death. It's a great part of life to be able to hop in and go for a ride. As you can see, Louise is a big fan. She's driving now. We had this this trim piece here turned gold in the sun for some reason on the front and back, but we were able to source something new there and get that back, as gold and chrome just don't go. But we've admired so many of your cars at the show every year, and really liked the Figaro. We were really super excited about the Izettas for a little bit. Thought we wanted to get one, but our lifestyle is such that this is the perfect car for us. We can do highway speeds eventually. We can both fit in here with the dog. I have actually had 4 adults in here, 2 really skinny cousins that sat in the back. You can put groceries in it, and of course, like Kevin said, it's all smiles and waves the whole time. Everybody just loves seeing the little cars, which is always fun, which is one of the best times for us all to get together for the car show every year, is to take that drive and have everybody smile and wave, and then just the best people come and see us out there on the lawn. And we really look forward to it and hope to get back to it soon. Other than that, we've decided that she's going to be the main toy for us, I think. No real space for another microcar. We are doing a 1960 Vespa scooter, a little bit. The engine is sitting way up there on the shelf. It's not getting a lot of attention these days. And then last weekend we picked up a 1984 pinball machine. So we're spreading out on our restoration projects and making sure that they fit in this very room. I'm sure that I'm a little bit short, like a lot of folks have, but it's been a really fun show. Thanks everybody for participating, and thanks Mark and Nicholas for putting it all together.